22nd of May and it's snowing.
You're John. I'm Dave.
Finally, we get some real nice weather.
Muhammad Ali.
He's got a heart made of yellow barley straw.
Right now, I had a windstorm about a month or so ago, tore off these shingles, so now I'm re-shingling what the wind tore off. I just got it set up today. I'm too old to do this, but it'll take me a couple of days. Nobody else likes to do these high-pitched roofs.
Yeah.
Well, we done these 5 years ago.
Oh.
And this is what happened. I ripped this part right off. I ripped an arbor down, I ripped the fence down in here. Just seemed to be a plow wind come right through this area.
Oh.
I don't know what it was, but nobody else had anything damaged right around us. She's busy planning the wedding, so I have to get this done before the wedding. Once you get going, it don't take long.
This is a guy I've known for years.
Many years.
Mr. Ken Thomas from Dysart, Saskatchewan.
Yeah. I restore these old telephones. Hello! These phones were on the rural lines, and there was 16, 17, maybe 20 on a line. And each one had their own ring. Our ring was 3. 3, 2.
3 long and 2 short, so you could phone a home sort of thing by just ringing at 3-2. But most in Dysart at one time would have had a central operator
Yep,
too.
central operator.
There would have been a place in town where there was a central operator, so you just ring it once and the operator would ask who you wanted to phone, and then she would redirect your call. So.
Another thing of the old central office, any event was going on like this yard sale today.
One long.
One long ring, and that was
like a
everybody
community bulletin. Everybody is supposed to pick it up with one long.
Somebody died or got married or run away.
Just one long, and then everybody picked up. So that was an easy way of getting in touch with everybody, really.
It was,
yeah. Basically, in those days, everyone could hear the number come through. So everyone basically picked up the phone and listened. You know, they'd put their hand over the speaker and then pick up the earphones so that they could listen in on everybody else's business. So you didn't want to.
No.
You always sort of had almost keys and codes that you could get business done without letting everybody else know.
That's right.
You have to ring that, and then the operator would. Say, who would you like to call? And you'd say 71 or something like that.
Yep.
They'd be 2-digit numbers.
Yeah, our number was 432. Line 4, ring 32.
Ring 32.
Yeah.
So
we had some people listening in all the time, and this old neighbor of ours, Charlie Beckett, his name was. He phoned up Herb Barker and he asked Herb how his leg was. He's made this story up, eh? Oh, Herb says not too bad. It's only broken in 2 places, but Doc Stewart fixed it up pretty good.
So everybody knew.
Was ringing. Herb broke a leg. Herb broke a leg.
You know, it was a funny thing. We did a milk route, and those horses knew exactly where every house was. They'd walk up and they'd stop. You'd go and deliver the milk, and they'd stay till you come back, and away they go to the next one.
And the milkman's job got twice as hard.
He used to load up his rack for about 3 houses,
And walked down the street.
and he'd go to the house and then cut across the yard, deliver the milk, and the horses would go ahead and stop and wait for him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Our horses
They,
knew that route just inside out. It was just amazing.
And,
1 year on that route, they knew that.
milkmen didn't last that long after trucks. Maybe,
Well,
maybe 10 years.
It's not.
just
It's
did
the
not
fact
pay.
that there was no wives at home. Like that's why the milk delivery went.
Yeah.
But
They were all working, so there was no home delivery meant nothing anymore.
But you know, like early days, Regina, you had to go downtown to do your shopping. And now they got malls all through the city.
But that's
So
that's
it's, you
where
know, they're
the-
only 2 or 3 blocks from them.
When I lived in Regina, we had a grocery store less than a block away. So we had milkman right up till there were no more milkmen. But the milkman used to help. You know, Mom would be in a fix, the old man would be on the road somewhere, and he'd help her with stuff around the house and so on too. You know, in terms of, you know, fixing this or fixing that or whatever.
Is that you, Gordon? Hey, you remember?
No, as I'm saying that,
I was gonna say.
I should just shut up here, but it really wasn't that. But Mom and the milkman got along really good.
Yeah, well,
But
they did.
and the milkman did, you know, if the clothesline broke or whatever, the milkman would help. He'd fix it?
Oh yeah, it was part of the.
Milkman put sand in the sugar.
Like they always said, well, Archie Bunker said, you know.
If everything's good in the hen house, you don't have to go to the store for eggs.
I remember my mother wearing what they called a corset. Because I remember I was about just a teenager, and she was going to a wedding, and she had this new dress, but she had to look prim and proper, I guess. So here's me and my older sister. See, there was only 3 of us girls, but I lost my oldest sister when I was only 7 years old. So actually, there was only 2 of us girls all our lives, just me and my older sister Barbara. But I remember her pulling the string on one side, me pulling it on the other side, trying to, then you cross it. It crosses like this back and forth around these little eyes, and you pull it some more, put it around the next
That
one.
was a full armor corselet, not a girdle. I can remember, and it came all the way up and
Yes,
hook
and it
eyes,
hooked.
you
They
know,
had
where
those
you
little
can't
eyes
see.
where you, and then you're pulling on these strings trying, and Mum would say, pull it tighter, and I thought, holy cow, Mum, you're going to disappear on us if I pull it much more.
I don't remember. Well,
I remember
I probably
those.
had to help my mother hook her into hers, but I don't remember of any.
Oh, I remember
really
that.
serious-
I was about 14, 15 years old.
But I can remember one of my own experiences,
Yeah.
not with a corselet or a corset.
Uh-huh.
There were different levels, you
Yeah.
know. But I remember a girdle. Now, it was a custom in our church that you went to confirmation school, and you studied for confirmation school 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you were finished your 3 years, you had a 3-Sunday series of examinations and vowing of your faith and etc. I can't remember. Yeah. Anyway, for this big procedure, you know, I had my very first girdle. And I had a pair of sandals. And I had a very white sheer dress and a slip. Everything was new. So wear it the first Sunday and come home and hang it all up. And the second Sunday, do the same thing. And funnily enough, we were a group of about 20 kids, boys and girls, and 2 or 3 of us girls all had the same Eton special dress. You know? Yeah, no problem. We weren't worried about that. We just thought we looked elegant.
Yeah.
The third Sunday, everything went well, and I got my certificate. I was now a member of the church, and I got patted on the head, and I got communion for the first time, and it was a very special time. I come home and I'm undressing, and my God, I forgot to put my panties on. Because I had this girdle on, and here I marched through the whole church and up to the front. Good thing nothing fell off. I never told my mother. She would have been horrified when I went through my confirmation pantyless. I was a little shocked myself, too, because they're wearing this extra thing. I didn't even miss them. I don't know if you better edit that out.
They're all hardy roses, and some of them are over 50 years old. We moved them all in from the farm when I came to town.
Did you lose any when you moved them?
No, they're all growing.
Yay. You must have felt really good about that.
Well, Kathleen and I did it. We got 5 holes ready, and we went out with 5 pails and brought 5 in and did a row till we finished.
And how many plants did you have at the farm?
30. They're all here. They need the shelter, and at the farm we had a lilac hedge around the rose garden, and that was where the snow lasted the longest in the spring, so that was why I chose it to make the rose garden there, because the snow covering really seemed to work. We tried soil and leaves and peat moss and insulation, but the snow was still the best. When I came to town, the choice too inside this fence, you need shelter for them, because the wind does play havoc with them.
I think I like the fall the best. That's when we got our bins full of wheat in our gardens, and when we got all our what we worked for. Yeah. I live now on an acreage just out of Turtleford. I was born on a farm at Hazelmore, Saskatchewan. We lived on a farm there. It was we lived there until the dirty 30s drove us off. Sometimes for a child it was very scary. It got so dark sometimes you had to light the light in the house at midday. And then sometimes there would be so many grasshoppers in the sky the sun would turn red. Dust, yes, wind and dust. I think the tables were always set with the plate upside down, and you didn't turn it over until you ate. My dad got 2 box cars to move his cattle, because that's why we had to leave. There was no feed there, and he put up feed at Meadow Lake, and that's where we moved to. Yeah. But I think of my mother leaving a house with inlaid linoleum on the floor and going into a log shack 16 by 16 with a mud floor with 10 children. I did homestead myself in 1937. That was pretty hard times for everyone in Saskatchewan in the 30s. There was very little money. There were hungry people then. We were not, because we had a lot of cattle and horses and pigs and chickens and all the things to live with. Where a lot of people moved out of the cities then and did not have that. The north was full of fruit, like wild blueberries and wild raspberries and wild cranberries and every kind of fruit you would imagine. So that was, we learned to live that way. We used to put up a tent in the Sincere Hills and pick berries and sell them for maybe 3 weeks every fall. As children, we did that. I was there pretty much off and on until wartime, and I was in service for 3 years. Margaret and I were married in Vancouver in 1944. She was born at Hazelmore also and moved up to Sincere, and that's where we met. after coming out of service. We weren't that well off. I had enough money to buy 2 cows, and we milked cows, those 2 cows, and shipped a can of cream a week, and that kept us in what we had there in the homestead for 5 or 6 years. Yeah. Oh, I have no regrets for going to the homestead. I had a nice team of driving horses in the wintertime with bales on, and our cattle grew from 2 to 20 some head, and we had pigs and chickens, and we lived as well then as we do now. I eventually got into the grain trade, and I was started in the grain trade at Meadow Lake, and I spent 32 years buying grain. We organized a ball team and were in a league at Meadow Lake, and that's one of my highlights. I was always fascinated with what could be done with the ball. Oh. And I remember one time my catcher come and met me at halfway, I was pitching a ball game, and he shook my hand. I said, "What was that for?" Well, he said, "You just struck out the best batter in northern Saskatchewan 3 times today." So I remember things like that. Yeah. Well, it's quite a thing to throw a ball to home plate, and the instant he swung the bat, the ball would drop a foot. You learned how to do that, and throw the curves either one way or the other. Yeah. Or if you threw it hard, it would hop. I have no regrets. None whatsoever.
How old are you?
I'll be 76 on September the 11th. 86, I should say.
Do you often lie about your age?
That's maybe the first time. Yeah, 86.
Hi, I'm John.
And I'm Dave.
We're the hardware guys. Actually, Dave, I left hardware and I sell real estate now.
Well, that's okay, John. You're still a hardware guy at heart.
Right on.
Since I married into the Ott family, they always made a point of giving thanks, and as we sat around the supper table, everybody had to say what they were thankful for. And at first it was really hard to kind of open up your life to these strangers. But as you get older and as you become, I guess, more married, you do develop a sense of what you become, what you've become. And when John joined our family and we did the first round of thank yous, it was kind of hard for you to say anything.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
it was very difficult.
Yeah.
But when we get older, as each year goes along, it becomes easier and easier to say what you are thankful for and what really is important in your life.
Yeah. Other than thanks for just the food on the table, you're thankful for every morning that you wake up, that every day you go to sleep, every day you have a meal. You're thankful for a lot. Essentially, you never think about that other than that day. You thank God for for the meal that we have, for the togetherness of all the family that day. At their household, basically, you thank one another for for a lot of stuff, and it's nice to see.
And you don't even have to do it at Thanksgiving. You could do it every day.
You actually could.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Bye.
How are you? Good. How are you? Good. Oh, it's nice to see you. Hi, Irene.
It's tough.
Oh yeah, I don't care how tough you are, that hurts.
Yeah.
Still hurts. Oh yeah, it hurts because you're together all the time, you're companions.
There you are. You finally have a bed.
April 25th.
October 26th. That was a hard thing to do.
Yes, it is.
Yes, yes. But the Blue Jays, I love the Blue Jays, and they
What we worked for.
It's great. No wind, or very little wind, and the sun's out. Not too hot yet. Yeah. We don't need any rain yet. It's been pretty good this past weekend. We had some sunshine, no rain, sun and heat. I think that's coming.